The dream of making it to the NFL typically start with the dream as an adolescent. When I was young, I wanted to play in the league, either football or basketball. I was nice up until my surgeries. And, you know, as you work your way through grade school and become a premier athlete in high school, the moment you sign your national letter of intent, the dream starts to become a reality. So at first, it starts with a dream. It all starts with a dream. Like Biggie Smalls said, like Notorious B.I.G. said, Christopher Wallace, it was all a dream. That's how it starts. It started as a dream. Then you start putting motion behind it. You start putting action behind it. And then I think the moment you sign that NIL, it's going to become a reality. Now, some of you may disagree with me. You might say, well, it doesn't really come a reality until you're drafted and you sign your first contract. But I think the reason it becomes a reality when you sign your national letter of intent, because you say, hold on, this is attainable. What I do over the course of these next 3 or 4 years can decide my fate as it pertains to making the NFL. So let's go back. We talked about this the other day. The Austin versus NCAA ruling back in 2001 stated that the current state of the NCAA as it pertained to amateurism violated antitrust laws, and that they should be able to they shouldn't be able to benefit off of these athletes' name, image, and likeness, but these athletes can't benefit on their own name, image, and likeness. And that's pretty much how NIL was born. With the explosion of NIL, now starts a new conversation of NIL versus NFL. A conversation that just a decade ago, we wouldn't even be having. Like, none of us even knew what, like, NIL was. Like, you may have heard name, image, and likeness, but we weren't saying NIL. And the only reason we knew it is because it was the O'Bannon case versus NCAA, if you were paying attention to that. But let's further talk about this point. Cam McCormick, who happens to be my spirit animal. I don't care what y'all got to say about Cam McCormick. That guy is my spirit animal. I promise you he is. Because he's I'm just here for a good time, not a long time. But he is here for a long time. But he has been in college football since 2016. I want y'all to let that sink in. What were you doing in 2016? Were you, like, listening to The Life of Pablo? Were you playing, like, you know what I'm saying, Madden 15, Madden 16 or Madden 17 with the New York Giants and Odell Beckham was the best receiver on the game? Like, what was you doing in 2016? I think we really need to think about how far ago 2016 was. That's why Cam McCormick will forever be my spirit animal, bro, because he's here for a long time. Like, 2016 is crazy. Think how much college football has changed since 2016. Think about how much fashion has changed since 2016. Like, bro has really been in school for a long time. I think he's finally done. I want to say he's finally done. But I want to further talk about this discussion of NIL versus NFL. Arch Manning, starting quarterback at Texas, currently has an NIL value of $6.6 million. And while many people think he will probably be the number one quarterback off the board in 2026, it wouldn't surprise me if he came back to Austin one more year and his NIL will be somewhere around $8 million. Now, of course, if he's the first pick in the draft, I think he have a guaranteed, like, 4-year, like, $43 million. So that will put him somewhere around $11 million a year. And I'm not sure if that's, you know, backloaded or front loaded. I'm sure it's probably, you know, backloaded. But $6 million a year, not bad for 1 year. And if it'll probably somewhere be around 8 or 9 next year if he did decide to come back and play at Austin. But I want to continue this case, but let's talk about the WNBA. We see in the WNBA quite often players like Paige Beckers opted to stay in college for an additional year because her NIL worth was somewhere around $1.4 million, because she could have left last year and the year before that and the year before that. But that's significantly higher than her rookie salary. I think she got like a 4-year deal for $300,000 or a 3-year deal for $300,000. So right now as a rookie, she only making $78,000, and that was as the number one pick for the Dallas Wings. So what her trying to get some type of medical red shirt, being able to play another year in college would have probably been more fruitful than going. And of course, Paige Becker should definitely get some type of endorsement deal, so I'm sure she'll be able to bolster that money. But that's why you see a lot of these times you see these WNBA athletes are in other leagues, or I think there's like a new 3-on-3 league for women's. It's another professional league, another way to make money, but it's not fair what their salary is, and that's why it is more profitable for a lot of them to say, yo, I stay in college that extra year so I can go ahead and get this money and strike it while the iron hot, versus going to the next level. Let's talk about Quinn Ewers for a second. Quinn Ewers is really the really the baseline of why I wanted to have this discussion in the first place, because I seen it. I think Josh Pate was talking about it. I seen some other people talking about it. So pretty much he was projected to be a much higher pick. There were talks before the season started that Quinn Ewers could be a top 2 or top 3 quarterback, and this is before the 2024 college football season started. But the fact that he was a 7th round pick by the Miami Dolphins is really troublesome. And it's troublesome for a number of reasons. Like, one, I don't know if his agent gave him bad news or what, because he could have stayed in college and made more money. Of course, the dream is making the NFL. Quinn Ewers definitely produced in college, but for whatever reason, he wasn't taken to the 7th round. I just don't get it. His production wasn't 7th round production. Now, I do think he landed at a spot where, and I hope people don't take this the wrong way. I hope Dolphin fans don't take this the wrong way. Tua is probably one bad play, probably one more severe concussion away to having to, like, they're going to force him to retire. And, of course, I don't want to see that. I really enjoy, even though he's in my division, I am a Bills fan. I really do enjoy and watching Tua play. But he's one bad hit from, being somewhere that, where he can't play the game anymore. So I think Quinn Ewers kind of landed at a spot that if he can go in and put the work in, he could probably see some playing time this year. I believe we've seen over the last 2 or 3 seasons, Tua has missed pivotal playing time for the Dolphins. So I'm not sure how many full games he's played or if he has had a season where he's played a full game yet. But Quinn Ewers landed in a good spot. But here's the bad news. Terrible spot to get drafted at, though. His overall contract is going to be $4.3 million, roughly around that, over the next 4 years. Granted, if he kills it these next few seasons, his second contract will definitely be worth the wait. That second contract will make it all worth it. But if he would have stayed one more year in college, he'd have had a guaranteed at least another $6 million. And there was reports that if he transferred to a certain school, his NIL validation might have been somewhere around $8 million. So right now he's going to be getting, what's that? Like $900,000 this year, or $800,000, something like that. So he's missing out on. You talk about almost $6 million, maybe $7 or $8 million as well for not staying back in college. Where do you guys stand on this subject? NFL is the goal, of course. That's the dream. That's the we all want to play in the NFL. We all dream playing for, whatever team our favorite team is, and going down and having that game-winning drive like having that game-winning drive like Joe Montana. But I don't know. Like, is it still the dream? I think it's still the dream. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders for a second. Shedeur Sanders was projected to be the 2nd or 3rd quarterback off of the board for most of what I heard for at least a better part of a year. He was projected to be that. And for whatever reason, he wasn't taken until pick 144 in the 5th round. And it really makes you think like, yo, what happened? And we kind of talked about that the other day. I won't get into that much at all today. But I'm just saying, if he would have either stayed at Colorado or transferred somewhere else, his NIL worth, he'd have made a lot more money staying in college than going to the pros. But that's the risk you take when you're trying to go to the NFL. What role do these agents play? Seriously, what roles do these agents play in this? Like, are these people getting bad information from their agents? Is their projections, or whoever their team is behind them, or is their projections higher than what their projections really are? Like, say what you want about Shedeur, he's not 5th round talent. Say what you want about Quinn, he's not 7th round talent. Say what you want. I probably would have been a lot more, not probably, I'd have been more comfortable if Quinn went before a lot of the quarterbacks. I'm not going to say any names, but if a lot of quarterbacks who had went before Shedeur, I would have been a lot more comfortable if Quinn went before Shedeur than on some of those other quarterbacks that went for Shedeur. But we won't get into that. Let's talk about Xavier Restrepo. Like, think about it. If he could have found a way to play another year in college, he'd have probably had a decent amount of money. As far as NIL, he runs the 40 at Miami Pro Day. I don't know who in the heck. Somebody should have told him don't run that 40, because there's no way he should be UDFA based on his production. He runs a 40. Everybody sees he runs a 4.83, and everybody's scared. That's crazy. And I think he signed with a really good team. I think he signed with Tennessee, so it'll be with his collegiate quarterback, and he's going to go in and put the work in. But it really makes you think like, yo, is the NFL still a dream? That's really the question I propose to all of you. Is the NFL still the dream? So this is government ruling, NIL versus NFL. I just kind of really wanted to talk about this and kind of provoke thought. Like, how do y'all feel about this subject? Quinn Ewers made the right choice in going to the NFL. Nobody can tell me differently. Shedeur Sanders made the right choice in going to the NFL. Nobody can tell me differently. Paige Beckers made the right choice when she decided to say, hey, I could have entered the 2024 WNBA draft, but I'm going to go back to college, get more of this bag before I have to start working 2 jobs when I go to the WNBA. The WNBA is exciting. The sport is exciting. I feel like they got players that we're all starting to know. These players need to make more money. College football isn't the final destination for these athletes, but it's certainly the final destination for me because I watch college football over NFL any day. And that's even twice on Sundays, and that is NFL day. A lot of times I'm at game on Saturdays, so on Sundays I'm trying to catch up and see what I miss. Being honest with you.